couple of examples of cases where maybe a foreign investor rushes into a partnership with a Chinese counterparty, and let me explain how that goes wrong most of the time. We have seen quite a few North American and European companies that come to us because they had a need to import a product from China, and then they found a manufacturer and they entered into a relationship where maybe they did one or two successful transactions and they build a little bit of trust, and all of a sudden the manufacturer says, well, for this transaction we need the entire amount in advance because they come up with some reason. And they just go, and the client goes and does that, and then 3-4 months later everybody disappears. You cannot get anyone on the phone, and the client realizes that A, we don't know whether this company exists or not. Is it properly registered? Does it have assets? We're now in a situation where they owe us money, and do we have an ability to sue them or get our money back or enforce against their assets? And they find out that the company doesn't exist, and the person that has been their contact window, they know an English name, they know they have been dealing with Johnny Chen, but who is that? They don't know, they don't have an ability to find them or identify them. And then they end up having to explain to their top management what happened and why we don't have a supplier and why we're not able to get our money back. So that's obviously a bad situation. So obviously once this happens, we certainly can go and try to recover the funds and try to find the people that took the money, but that still leaves the company with a problem. They don't have a supplier, they don't have the products that they need. So what we recommend most of the time is that before the company goes into this kind of relationship, that a thorough understanding is developed of the counterparty in order to prevent these kind of situations rather than trying to fix them after the fact. It is also equally irresponsible to fail to monitor the behavior of these key partners after a transaction takes place or after the key executive comes into the company. And we help clients make sure that they always have an understanding of what's going on with their China operation and that they don't regret it in the long term. Let me give you an example. We had a client that was a high-tech electronics manufacturer, and they had a facility in one of the major cities in China. And they had this project where basically they decided that they were going to build a second manufacturing facility in an inland province, in order to reduce their costs. And they hired a new manager to head that project, and so that person was sent, away from the major city into the inland city. And top management basically, let that person run the project, the construction project, and they were frankly asleep at the wheel. So after 2 years of running around unsupervised, the company realizes that this key manager had set up a complex scheme of kickbacks whereby he had these contractors that were overcharging the company to deliver substandard quality work. And the client ended up with a factory that didn't meet their specifications. It was not functional, and because they had built it with a loan that they obtained from the local government, once you added all that up, including servicing the debt, that facility, producing in that facility, was more expensive than the original facility. So it was a complete disaster. The CEO was fired, replaced, and the company almost went out of business because of this.